About a couple of weeks ago, I actually made a video just simply to talk about the fact that there is a new bullet bill type in Super Mario Bros. Wonder, so I went back and showed like every single bullet bill in all the mainline and spin-off and even movies for Mario, and you guys absolutely loved it, and in the comments, you guys were asking for more videos like this, so I said, shoot, why not? So let's keep on going and let's see where this goes. Maybe it spawns its own series or something like this. It's actually a lot of fun to go back and look at how the enemies evolved and changed. So let's go all the way back and let's do the same thing but with piranha plants for Mario. Let's look at all the different types of piranha plants and how they've changed and what they look like today compared to what they look like when they began. So we are going back in time again, looking at every single piranha plant within every single Mario game. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to help us reach our goal of 250,000 subscribers. You guys can make that happen with this video alone. So stop what you're doing right now, leave a like and subscribe. It'll only take a couple seconds. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Let's jump into the video. So first we have Super Mario Bros., which started to look for the piranha plant. It's really just this green plant that comes in and out of pipes with teeth. There's no red design to it, it's just green with some dots and teeth with a yellow stem, and every now and then you would find some red ones as well. But that's really about it. When you got next to a pipe, they wouldn't come out, and that's just the first time we've seen them. In Mario Bros. 3, we can see two different types. One that just simply comes straight up out of the pipe like normal, but they are red with white dots, what we're going to start seeing from now on. And we can see some with a tilted head, which shoot fireballs at you as well. Now, this is kind of the look that we're going to get for a very long time now with that red and white dot head. In Super Mario World, they work very similar to Super Mario Bros. 3, but add new baby ones that are called jumping piranha plants that slingshot themselves out of pipes in order to fly up in the air and bite Mario. But the rest are pretty similar to what we've already seen. Actually, in the Yoshi game, 1991, which is literally just called Yoshi, a puzzle game where you actually have to match up shapes and line them up as they fall from the sky, you actually have these jumping piranha plants or baby piranha plants as well. These jumping piranha plants also make an appearance on Choco Island, which is from Super Mario Kart, where you'll see them standing or really just sitting on the side of the stage and chomping their mouth. Next, we have Yoshi's Island, which gives us more piranha plants, and they work pretty much the same way. They kind of just sit in one spot and move their head around and follow Yoshi, and all you have to do is whack it in the head with an egg in order to kill it. But in this game, we can actually see the response. The Nin10doland is a little seed that falls down from the sky, and once it hits the ground, it plants and grows into a nipper, which is actually able to bounce around the stage and still attack you, and eventually it will grow into a full-fledged piranha plant. In Yoshi's Island, we can actually see a fully grown one, thanks to Kamek, that turns it into the navel piranha, which its roots sporadically grow throughout the stage, and it's able to move around the entire stage as well, as it used some of the roots as arms, and it has baby piranhas on the tips as well, which could also be classified as a separate piranha plant. Also, thanks to this transformation, his actual heart is revealed, and we can see a giant boil in the center of his vine that's also patched up, showing us that that's his weak spot. Now, skipping ahead real quick to the other Yoshi Islands, we have the bungee piranha, which is very much like the navel piranha. It even has the little arms and the little babies on the side, but this time it's more of a purple color, more of a violet, and it actually hangs from the ceiling and can move back and forth and slingshot at Yoshi. It also has a new style of tongue that it uses in order to pick you up, which actually has a ball at the end to scoop. And it also is able to spit out baby spores in order to spawn nipper plants. In Yoshi's Woolly World, we can see the navel piranha plant return again, and once again uses lots of its different vines for various segments, has baby piranha plants on the end of those as well. And guess what? The navel piranha plant returns once again in Crafted World, but this time has more of an arts and craftsy vibe to it. Its vines are actually made out of some type of pine cone fruit, and also some type of acorn as well. I think the pine cone fruit is more like a durian, but at the same time, it's like made out of pieces of fruits and vegetation and stuff from the background, which is actually pretty interesting. But it also has the baby piranha plants, which are able to spit out attacks at Yoshi as well. Also, did you know that the navel piranha plant is a boss from Tetris Attack, where you can actually fight against him? But yeah, it pretty much looks exactly the same from the game. Next up, we have Mario RPG, which actually shows piranha plants here and there, but they also ideally look the same. There's nothing real different about them. They're just kind of in their own new animation and, own new sprite based on this game. We can also see them for a brief second in the remake, which is pretty cool as well. Now, this is actually a boss called the Mega Smilax, which is interesting because it's just a big piranha plant with 2 baby ones by its side. If anything, it's more like a naval piranha, but mega Smilax, I guess. Square Enix was getting a little carried away with this one. For Super Mario 64, you also have piranha plants, which work the same way, but this time, they actually can fall asleep in this game, and you can knock them out while they're asleep, and they'll just kind of pass away. Mario's kind of crazy for this. Next up, we have Mario Kart 64, and on Mario Raceway, we can see a strange new form of the piranha plant. It's more like a giant bowl that's kind of like a suction cup at the end, and it just kind of opens its mouth, and that's about it. I don't really know what this is supposed to be. I couldn't even find a render or even a picture of this thing on Google. I have no clue what this is, but this is definitely pretty creepy. Now, Yoshi's story technically does not have a naval piranha, but there's an entire stage that's filled with piranha plants and vines everywhere in the background, and this is called a piranha grove. And we can also see these babies, which are called piranha sprouts in the game, which definitely make a lot of sense, so we'll start calling them piranha sprouts. They're also called piranha pest as well, sometimes the ones that don't walk and just kind of hang from vines. In the original Mario Party, you can see piranha plants make a return, and they look pretty similar to that of the classic games in Mario 64, and you can also see one that actually can grow as the characters water it thanks to the rain cloud, and it turns into this giant abomination of a piranha plant that chases the players, which eventually gets turned into Petey Piranha in the remake that actually recently came out, but we'll talk about that when we get there. In Super Smash Bros. 64, the piranha plant makes a return and we can see them in the background of the stage. Here's an updated look of it instead of the classic version, because the classic version is kind of hard to see and it's very outdated, but yeah, it's pretty much the same original Super Mario Bros. Piranha plants, but they also appear in Smash. Also, that weird stretchy piranha plant from Mario Party 1 returns in Mario Party 2. I don't like this thing. We then get to see piranha plants in Paper Mario 64, and they have this same look the entirety of the series, which is pretty consistent. And in Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, we also get different types. There's more of a black and white one, there's one that spits poison, and there's one that emits ice as well, which is pretty cool. And in Super Paper Mario, they really don't change at all. They just look a little bit more detailed, but they still work the exact same way. And in Paper Mario the Origami King, we have origami piranha plants and Petey plants. Yep, we completely missed Petey plants and something else, but give me one quick second. There's also giant paper mache piranha plants in this game as well. It really works more as a different art design for them. Yes, back in Mario Bros. 3, we had Petey plants, which were little piranha plants that shot out a spike ball from their mouth, and they could even walk with it back and forth, which was pretty cool. They didn't only have nipper plants, they also had munchers back in Mario Bros. 3, which were these little black nipper plants that you could not destroy. You could run on them with the power star, but that's really about it. They've also returned in Super Mario World, less interesting, more just like a opening and closing mouth with no eye or any expression, but sure. Shoot, even Wario Land had a form of the muncher that was in the game as well and worked in the same vein, which was pretty cool. Okay, now getting back on track with Paper Mario, we still have a boss battle to talk about. In Paper Mario 64, we have the naval piranha once again. It's actually called the lava piranha, and instead of giant white dots on its head, it has more like white rings that form a circle, and you also have these baby piranhas on its side that are on fire, and the fact that it's sitting in a pool of lava with its giant tongue hanging out. Yep, it's definitely a different look, but it's pretty much just a fiery naval piranha. It was actually able to shoot out bomb seeds and also blow like fiery poisonous breath, which is pretty crazy. And these little bomb seeds just kind of float in the air and then ram into you in order to explode in a fiery explosion. And I guess technically they could be a type of piranha plant. Maybe it's just a baby of the lava piranha, like the seeds from the nipper plants, but who knows? I couldn't really find any information on these things. Mario Party 3 has potted piranha plants, where there's a game you have to let them grow thanks to the rain cloud, but they pretty much once again look the same as they do in Mario 64 once again. Super Mario Sunshine, my game, my baby. Yes, let's talk about it. So there's actually a lot of weird piranha plants in this game. This game just kind of took piranha plants to a whole different level. We have, for one, polluted piranha plants with 3 different colors. We kind of have an orange lava-like goo one, which can actually burn Mario. There's a brown mud-like one, which is very slippery if you get caught inside of its goo. There's a black paint one, which can regenerate twice after you defeated it once. Oddly enough, there's no green one, which actually has an electricity current, which would have made sense in this game. Before you fight Petey Piranha, you actually have like these Petey Piranha heads that are rolling down the hill in brown mud. And they're called Piranhabons. Yeah, they're actually a named enemy. And it's pretty much just, like I said, the head of a piranha plant that's rolling down the mountain. This is so weird. You also have regular piranha plants, which come from like these little black and white seeds, and they have a very long skinny neck this time around, which is their root. And yeah, they work pretty much the same way. You just fill them up with water and they'll bust open, which we're about to do to Petey Piranha, which is the very first time we've seen this creature, which we'll see many more times. Petey Piranha is a giant piranha plant with little flower buds around his head, and also the fact that he's wearing pants is pretty cool. But to take this guy on, you had to fill his mouth with water and ground pound on his stomach in order to completely defeat him. Now, it looks like this was a creature completely made out of goo from Bowser Jr., but we see him time and time again in other spin-offs, so what is Petey Piranha? I don't know. I made a whole theory video on this a couple of years ago, so you can check it out if you want. Well, since we're talking about Petey Piranha, we might as well just get through it. So Petey Piranha returns again in Mario Pinball Land, and he's kind of stationary. He doesn't have his real body and his underwear anymore, and he doesn't even have legs or feet. He kind of just sits in the middle of the room and tries to eat Mario if you sling right at him, so you have to turn him around in order to hit his body. Petey makes a return in Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, where he's just a massive character, and the club is so small in his hands, but yeah, he's out there playing golf. Petey Piranha is a playable character in Mario Power Tennis for the GameCube. He returns in Mario Kart Double Dash, pretty much with the same design, and he's kind of like best friends with King Boo, the big heavyweight champs. Yes, even Super Princess Peach has Petey Piranha in a 2D setting, and he spits out nipper plants occasionally, but you have to cry into his mouth in order to fill him with water again. And then for another 2D game, he returns as a boss in New Super Mario Bros. DS, where he flies around a stage and just tries to land on Mario. No need to filling his mouth up with water, just jumping on his stomach is enough here. Petey Piranha then enters the RPG world and actually is a boss battle in Mario & Luigi Partners in Time. And he actually has like a whole sanctuary down underground for some reason, and the Shroobs actually use him as like a foul beast punishment to send people down into the cave. Pretty much the same piranha, but he's actually able to spit out little sprouts with long tongues that hang from blocks above, which is pretty gross, but overall, it's just Petey Piranha again. Petey Piranha is also in Mario Hoops 3-on-3, but he ain't hooping, he is the hoop. Yeah, Petey Piranha is the freaking basketball hoop. His mouth is the rim. It is the weirdest thing ever, but yeah, there's like 2 Petey Piranhas on a court, one on each end, and yeah, it's just the hoop. You can dunk in Petey's mouth. This is just insane. Petey Piranha is also a guest player in Mario Strikers Charged, where he actually just wears a giant helmet that encases his whole head and also his underwear section. But yeah, it's Petey Piranha. Petey Piranha also played baseball in Mario Super Sluggers for the Wii. He returns as a boss battle in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, actually one of the very first boss battles of the entire game, where he holds 2 giant cages, and they have like little piranha plant locks on the top, meaning you can't open them unless you just completely bust them open to save Princess Peach and Zelda. And back into the RPGs, in Paper Mario Sticker Star, he makes a return, and he has a gigantic stomach where every time you hit it, different items and enemies will pop out of his mouth, which is pretty disgusting. Yep, he throws up on you. That's his main attack. We then have Petey's Bomb Battle, which once again is just him opening and closing his mouth and dancing on the stage in front of you. You have to throw bombs at him before he opens his mouth, but if he opens his mouth and you throw the bomb in, he will actually spit bombs back at you. We then have Petey from Puzzles and Dragons, where it's just a puzzle game against Petey. It's just the same thing. It's Petey Piranha in a different art style. He then returns in Mario & Luigi Paper Jam as a boss, which pretty much works the exact same way. Nothing super special and no real changes to his appearance. In Paper Jam, you also fight a whole stack of paper piranha plants, which are pretty much the same thing as Petey Piranha, but he's just paper now, and he's got tons of clones of him. Then in Paper Mario Color Splash, Petey Piranha is actually PT Piranha with a tea bag hanging off of his head. Yeah, Paper Mario Color Splash was a game for sure, but it's still just Petey Piranha. And you fight him as a boss in Mario Party Star Rush by just running around the stage and chucking shells at him. And Piranha Pursuit returns from Mario Party to Top 100, where you have to rain on Petey Piranha in order to have him chase after the player on the skateboard. This time it's not the weird stretched out piranha plant with arms and legs, it's Petey Piranha. And for some reason, this same game comes back in Mario Party Superstars, which I just don't get it. It's like a game where you can't lose if you're on the skateboard. Why does Nintendo love this game so much? It's awful. And then we get Petey Piranha and Mario Tennis Aces, where you're pretty much just playing tennis against the guy. And you have piranha plants all over the stage watching of different types. You even have munchers in the background and even piranha creepers, which we haven't even been able to get to yet because we still are on Petey Piranha. Eventually he will fall down and get tired, and you'll just have to slam the tennis ball off of that big bulbous belly button once again. And oh yeah, as an actual nod to Sunshine now, he once again throws tornadoes, which I can't believe this has been gone from his moveset for so long. Petey Piranha's like Millie rocking tornadoes out. And then finally, Piranha Plant in Smash Ultimate actually transforms into Petey, and it even has the cages from Smash Brothers Brawl, where he puts you in the cage and slams it on the ground after catching you on fire too, because now he can breathe fire for some reason. Alright, now let's go all the way back and continue our Piranha Plant hunt. Mario Party 5 has Piranha Plants too, even though they're a little wacky and all over the place. In Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, you have the Mom Piranha, which looks completely different. It's more of an egg-shaped piranha plant with just little tentacles hanging out the side, and also inside of an eggshell, as if it just hatched into a mother, which is already strange enough. Yeah, I don't know how these are formed, but they also have babies in front of them. They can have red piranha plants which shoot fire, and blue ones which actually have electricity to them. Mom Piranha Plant is also able to summon tons of babies all over the stage, and also gigantic energy orbs that can attack the bros, and her babies can heal her as well. So yeah, I don't know. We never really see this piranha plant again. It's definitely a weird one, and it's Mario & Luigi. What'd you expect? Yes, I felt like I mentioned it because I know people would say something. The piranha plants are also back, of course, and Mario 64 for the DS. For Mario Party 6, we start to see a slight different look in the piranha plants. They're a lot more skinny thanks to this new GameCube version of them, but then they look a lot better when we go to Mario Party 7, which they look like they normally do in the games. Mario Kart DS will occasionally have piranha plants on the side of the stage, which just are kind of obstacles because you can run into them, but they're off the track. And obviously we see them a lot more in the 2D Mario games. With New Super Mario Bros. DS, they kind of just sit in one spot and try to bite you. They have lots of animation this time around, obviously with this new form of Mario. The piranha plants in Yoshi's Island DS are a lot like the original. They're just a lot bigger and a lot more round. They have huge heads in this game, I guess easier to hit with your eggs. In Mario Party 8, the piranha plants take a super normal form where they just sit in their pipes and try to bite at you if you come near them. We then move on to Super Mario Galaxy, where we have the spiny piranha plant, which has thorns all over its roots, and you actually have to hit it with a plant in order to knock it down. Next up, we have Dino Piranha, which actually has a giant bulb orb on its tail, which you have to actually spin and hit in order to fling it back and knock it out of its egg. And then it walks around with 2 legs and 2 leaves as its arms, and it looks a lot like Petey Piranha, but more in a T-Rex form. So maybe it is Petey, but some type of mutation occurred or a different type of variant out in space? I'm not quite sure. We also have Fiery Dino Piranha, which is the same thing, but fiery. We then have Petey Piranha, which is like a dino piranha that's not ready to hatch yet in Mario Galaxy, and you can just see the bottom part of him is not formed all the way, as he still has a big old glowing butt that you get to smack after it breaks out of its egg, but it keeps forming its egg around its butt in order to protect its hindside. And then with Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games, you also got to fight Dino Piranha, which was an interesting one. Yep, Sonic is helping you fight a Mario Galaxy boss. In Mario Party DS, you actually have a boss battle against a giant piranha plant that's hanging from the bottom of the screen. All he does is try to suck you in and then also spit the bombs back out at you. It's nothing much there. But we're going to dive into even more technical things, because in Waluigi Stadium in Mario Kart Wii, it's actually like metal robotic animatronics of piranha plants coming out of the pipe, and they're brought back obviously in the booster pass. Okay, let's go to Mario & Luigi again for a little bit. We have Piranha Bean from Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, which is a weird boss. It's like kind of Petey Piranha, but not even has the underwear, but not the flowers or anything, and it can walk around, and it kind of has fingers on its leaves and stuff. It looks really weird. It's hunched over, and it's just a strange piranha plant. All it's able to really do is spit things out at you, and that's about it, and you fight it with just Luigi. It's a very weird situation in the game. In Bowser's Inside Story, you have Piranha Plorps, which are actually piranha plants inside Bowser's body, and they come out of some type of wormhole inside of his stomach, and they're able to emit toxic chemicals at the bros and spit different disgusting goo at them. They also have weird piping and boils coming off of their face, which makes them even more disgusting, but yeah, they're piranha plants within Bowser's body. There's also a section where you have to fling Bowser in his shell all the way to the top, taking out piranha plants hanging off the sides of the wall, and including 2 giant ones at the very top as well. They're just regular piranha plants, nothing special with these guys. Mario and Luigi Dream Team also just has some normal fights against piranha plants. That's really it, like there's nothing special about them. And for Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, you have regular piranha plants and paper ones as well that keep the same design as the recent Paper Mario games. In Mario vs. Donkey Kong Minis March Again, you have these new little tiny piranha plants. They don't have any spots on them at all, they're just little red ones, and they can also occasionally spit fire in some of the other versions. Now Nintendo kind of went back with the animations because they had some really unique ones in New Super Mario Bros. DS, and in the ones in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, the piranha plants don't really do a whole lot. They just kind of stick their heads out of the pipe and chew facing up the entire time, and occasionally they'll also face forward as well to spit fireballs, but they don't really have that same kind of flowy animation that the original had. Super Mario Galaxy 2, we have some regular piranha plants like we do in Mario Galaxy, and also some huge one in the Super Massive Galaxy. In Mario vs. Donkey Kong Miniland Mayhem, we also have those small piranhas again. This time they actually have spots, and you can see them spit fire, and they'll shake their heads until the fireball comes back, and kind of like dance to the beat. Guess what? We forgot a Petey, because in Mario Sports Mix, Petey Piranha comes back as the hoop as well. Super Mario 3D Land introduces a new type of piranha plant called the Inky Piranha Plant, which shoots balls of ink that can also smudge your screen where you can't see what's going on. We see a new look of the Fire Piranha Plant, which actually is all black with red spots on it. In Mario Kart 7 and obviously Mario Kart 8, you have Piranha Plant Slide, which has some piranha plants on the stage. There's nothing really special about them. They're just a little bigger than normal. In Mario Party 9, we have tons of piranha plants that pop up in certain mini games, and they work the same way. New Super Mario Bros. 2 keeps piranha plants pretty basic as well. They just stick their head out of the pipe and try to chew, and that's really about it. They also introduced the Bone Piranha Plant, which is more of a skeletal version. They've also introduced the Bone Goomba and other bone enemies, but yeah, it's just a way for Nintendo to add more piranha plants, honestly. New Super Mario Bros. U, once again, has piranha plants as well. The animation is a lot better. They actually are chomping a lot, and it reminds me of the DS version. And they also have the regular ones too that just barely stick their head out of the pipes. Mario and Luigi Dream Team also just has some normal fights against piranha plants. That's really it. Like, there's nothing special about them. Super Mario 3D World has piranha plants as well, and they have a little animation when they're stiff and they see you, they kind of get into position, which is pretty cool. You also have giant ones, which you have to bring down to the ground and then hit them on the top of the heads. There's also potted piranha plants where you can pick up and use them as they chomp anything nearby. You also have blue and purple piranha creepers, which stick their head out of holes and move along a designated path. And they're full of thorns. It's just one extremely long piranha plant. And the blue ones actually just stay there asleep, and you have to keep bouncing off of its head to push it further into the pipe and turn it purple. And you can see the new style of fire piranha plants once again coming back from Mario 3D Land, which are all black with orange spots. Mario Party Island Tour has piranha plants in it as well. Yoshi's New Island has piranha plants that work the exact same way. Mario Golf World Tour, a piranha plant even appears to eat Nabbit after he gets a double bogey. You can find dancing piranha plants in Music Park in Mario Kart. Yes, they even make guest appearances in games like Smash Brothers, even as a trophy in Smash 4. The piranha plants and piranha creepers make a return in Captain Toad. And in Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars, yep, there's still those mini piranha plants that shoot fire again. In Mario Party 10, there's mini games with piranha plants where you have to blast them, and they make an appearance in Yoshi's Woolly World. They just look a lot more fuzzy and cuddly, even though they're still deadly. And of course, they're in Mario Maker. I mean, they're in all the past games, so duh. And of course, they are in Mario vs. Donkey Kong Amiibo Challenge, where they are pretty much the same thing as well. Little toy, small versions of the piranha plants. They return in Mario Party Star Rush, and even some gold ones for extra points in some of the missions. And Super Mario Run, of course, has piranha plants as well. In Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, you have Pirabid Plant, which is like a rabid piranha plant that looks like Petey Piranha as well. He doesn't really do much besides run around the stage, and he also has like a piranha plant wand that he can like spit things at you throughout the wand, which is weird, but yeah, there you go. In Super Mario Odyssey, the piranha plant spit this purple goop, and you can actually turn into a piranha plant in Mario Odyssey. There's also big ones as well. In Mario Tennis Aces, you'll actually compete against some that also are part fiery as well. You can also see them make a return in Super Mario Party in some of the mini games. And of course, Piranha Plant is actually a playable character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like, come on now. And I guess you could also say Piranha Plant Kirby, as he can get a Piranha Plant hat, or technically costume, in this game. And you have piranha plants in Yoshi's Crafted World that are normally in the background, and you can even hit them with eggs, but they work the same way. There's also baby piranha plants that work as a bouquet in Super Mario Odyssey that Bowser gave to Peach, and also it's the same thing in the Mario movie as well. But there's a whole bunch of other little cameos that Piranha Plant has been in. Like in Wario Land, there's some mini-looking Piranha Plants. Sonic Lost World actually had Piranha Plants in a Yoshi's Island themed level. You had Izzy the Piranha Plant from Play Nintendo, whether that's canon or not. Captain Rainbow actually had piranha plants in the background. You even had them in Lego City Undercover in the background. Nintendo even made their own Lego piranha plant. It's actually a toy that you can get right now. And he's even a doctor in Dr. Mario World. Yeah, a Dr. Piranha Plant. Now, thanks to Vridi from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Kid Icarus, she gives us a whole list of all these different types of piranhas. And yes, some of the ones I named, I didn't tell you their exact names, but here are some of the ones that I just completely missed. We have propeller piranhas from Yoshi's Island, which just kind of propel themselves in the air back and forth. We have Chewies from Mario RPG, which actually have little feet, and they're all purple stems with green heads and white dots. We have putrid piranhas from Paper Mario 64, which are just extremely poisonous. You also have the Elasto piranhas, which stretch very high from Mario and Luigi Partners in Time and fire from above out of their pipes. And you have Piranha Planets from Partners in Time, which are these little planets full of pipes, and they shoot these little space astronaut piranha plants out with little helmets on. They even have little ray guns they can pop out of the pipes and shoot the bros. Like, Mario and Luigi is just such a weird series. We have Piranha Ghosts from Yoshi's Island DS, which are blue piranha plant ghosts, like at least the head of the piranha plant that's kind of moving up and down a little bit from above you. You have stalking piranhas, which are kind of like Patouis, but they're not spitting anything. They just stop and stretch out really high and then continue to move on. They kind of stalk you. And you have the prickly piranha plant from Super Mario Galaxy 2, which is completely covered in spikes, even on its head. Just like in Mario Galaxy 1, you also had to defeat it by smacking a plant into it. We can't stop there because we also have the media, which means shows and movies. We have Super Mario Bros., The Great Mission to Save Princess Peach. You have these all red/pink piranha plant faces, and they're just all kind of covered in that red coating. And they're very long, stretchy, and they work the same way though. In the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, they kind of look more like munchers. They're all black with white spots, and they're very, very short. In the Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, they look completely different. Very scary. They're all completely green with yellow teeth, and it looks nothing like a piranha plant. So, yep, that was a weird take for sure. In the Super Mario World show, they kind of look more like piranha plants, but they also can talk, and one actually wears like a blonde wig. It's a weird show. The TV show Chowder on Cartoon Network has a giant pink piranha plant, and it's kind of just, you know, supposed to represent the one from Mario. You can see the way it's looking up and with its lips. Obviously, it's a reference. In Total Drama Island, Revenge of the Island, there's also a giant piranha plant that looks a lot like the ones from Mario. It even has the spots and lips. Also found one from, I think, some old show or something called Mad. I don't really know what this is, but there's a piranha plant there. Instead of spots, it has like these weird flower-shaped patterns on it. There is a piranha plant in the show Zig and Sharko. Once again, I'd never heard of this show. In the TV show Harley Quinn, there is a gigantic piranha plant, which this may not be a reference. There are spots. It's hard to tell. The colors are actually flipped with green on the head and red on the vines, so maybe it's a slight reference. Now, there's an anime that I'm not familiar with called Dragon Ghost House Hunting in 2021, and there is a potted piranha plant within that show. Then the Loud House spin-off show, The Casa Grandes, also has a piranha plant, well, a potted piranha plant with the whole spots and everything. The lips and all, it definitely is a reference. Saturday Night Live even did a Mario Kart skit where they had piranha plants, and look, there's just so many piranha plants in media and other shows, probably even some that I'm gonna miss, but that's the general gist of them. You also had metal or mecha piranha plants during the training montage of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And the ones in the movie could stretch super far out of their pipes with their extremely long vines. And why not end this with the Hydora africana, which is an actual piranha plant in real life that looks very similar to that from the Mario games. It even has like little bristled teeth, and it looks a lot like the ones that we see with the piranha plants, and maybe that's where Nintendo actually got it off of. But yeah, pretty cool fact for you guys today. But I lied to you again because we still have Super Mario Bros. Wonder, of course. We now have new walking piranha plants that kind of walk towards you with their little feet. We also have melon piranha plants, which look like watermelons and pop out seeds out of their mouth. We also have these new piranha buds that pop out coins and other collectibles. You can make out a huge fire piranha plant at the bottom right of this scene. We can see some normal ones coming out of pipes and tilting their heads, definitely with some cute animations as well. And of course we have these giant new piranha plants which remind me of navel piranhas, very long roots as well, and their vines wrap around in this dark black poisonous look, and they also have these new diamond shapes to their head as well. And we can see some black smoke cloud versions of these piranha plants also with different colored outlines. And it looks like we can see the vines of these giant piranha plants in the background of this lava stage, which is definitely very creepy. And that was truly every single piranha plant that I could possibly find on the internet. Yes, this was a very long video, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple of piranha plants, and I'll probably find some from you guys that you guys are going to remind me of. But thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. It means so much to me. For those of you that made it all the way to the end, please stop what you're doing real quick, and if you made it all the way to the end, leave a like and subscribe because obviously you enjoyed what you just watched. And if you want to see more videos like this, definitely stay tuned, and I can definitely do more enemies in the future. I've already made one for bullet bills, and you can check it out in the link in the description down below. But thank you so much for tuning in once again, and I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.